Mike, so great to talk to you. I've got a lot of things I want to catch up on, but I got to start with, I understand that you are in the midst of writing a book.
Yeah, well, I've begun, Sam, and I think I'd rather go have 6 root canals all in the same day. This is not easy. I know it's easy for your partner, Papantonio, but man, it's like pulling teeth. But we'll get there. We're getting there fine. It's just getting over the hump and forgetting that it's a book and just think in terms of, well, let me do this page. Okay, now let me do that page. You know what I'm saying?
Right. One day at a time, as it were, one page at a time, I guess. And
baby
folks
steps, yeah.
All right, well, folks should go check that out on your Kickstarter, but I had to ask you about it. And it's about the alt-right, about Trump and yourself, dispatches from the foothills of the North Georgia mountains. And I want to talk to you about the special election that's taking place in Georgia in a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you and I were both on Air America during the days of the Bush administration back in 2004 and then obviously in 2005 and 2006. I mean, at a time which was a time where it seemed like the country came to some realization that there was a problem. But when we started out there was a real sense of isolation, right? Like that it was, I mean, we had to have security at Air America, and with good reason. Today, it feels like things are worse in terms of the administration, but better in terms of the awareness of the American public that there's a problem.
Yeah, I agree. And I think my guess is the reason for that was that Dick Cheney was much more experienced at all sorts of things, up to and including war crimes. He was much more experienced in greasing his way around Washington. He'd been there since Nixon? Since before Nixon?
Mm-hmm.
And Trump, I've used every word I can think of to describe Trump from my point of view, and none of them are adequate. Even fascist stop short of what this guy's about. So, yeah, I agree with you. Things were weird under Bush. And I think about all the things that I said on the air back then about Bush's fascism, and I'm embarrassed because in comparison with Trump, Bush was damn near a liberal. I'm kidding, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And yeah, it's gotten so much worse. You know, when you have as your chief executive a pathological liar and a person who makes stuff up or listens to the last person who puts something in his ear and then tweets about it, we're in deep doo-doo, Sam. I mean, the whole country is. We are in a real problem, a mess.
I guess it's true. I think this is what concerns me a little bit. Well, I'm concerned about a lot of it. But one of the things that concerns me is that Trump, the man, Trump, the incompetence, gets more attention, and it's inevitable, right? But
right.
He gets more attention than the Trump, the right-wing conservative agenda enabler, and that we are seeing the criticism of this guy as as a Cheeto in chief or something, but lost in that is like that story in the New York Times earlier this week that we are in the midst of an incredible unwinding of our regulatory state, the protection of our environment, the protection of consumers, the protection of citizen rights, on and on and on. And it's not like there weren't problems with the Obama administration, but this is of a completely different ilk.
It is, and I think a lot of that is coming from Steve Bannon and the guy I call the Nazi too young to order beer, and that's Steve Miller. And I realize, I realize Miller is Jewish, and to refer to him as a Nazi might be pushing it. But when he was on television a couple of weeks ago, Sunday, and he made the rounds of the Sunday show, I swore to God I was looking at a reproduction of Heinrich Himmler. It was just unbelievable. But anyway, I think a lot of what Trump is doing is because Bannon, who has made it very clear, he's a Leninist. He's made it very clear that he wants to deconstruct the entire state, which is obviously what Lenin did after the revolution in Russia. And look what that got them. And I think Bannon, I don't know. I think Bannon is so far, I don't know how else to put it, Sam. He's so far off his rocker. He's like Typhoid Mary. He carries this infection into Trump. And Trump, being the empty vessel that he is, he just absorbs it. I think you and I both know Trump never really wanted to be president. He wanted to be president with quotes around it.
Right.
It's it's stunning to me what has happened. Stunning.
What do you think about the Democratic pushback? I mean, to the extent that there is one.
I hope it gets its footing. It was weak beyond belief during the Bush-Cheney years. Real progressive Democrats were extremely weak during the Obama years for a number of reasons, not the least of which they, for 2 years they had the entire government. And I think they were afraid to push back on Obama because a couple of reasons. First of all, and I have to say it, he was the first black president, and they're not going to jump on him for fear of some kind of an inter-party backlash.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was an awful lot of resentment against him within the Democratic Party for defeating Hillary Clinton in 2008. And the support, I don't think the support was there for him, and I don't think the reserve troops, if you will, were there for him. He was out on his own. He was out, facing these crazed Republicans on his own so many times. And, the rhetoric of Pelosi and the rest of these people is immaterial to me. The only thing that counts to me in politics is what are you doing? I don't give a damn what you're saying. What are you doing? And I think the Democrats abandoned him. Now, this last election, I'm almost ashamed to be a Democrat. As a matter of fact, I don't think I am anymore. I think I'm a Bernie Sanders progressive, a socialist, social democrat. But we had a chance, we being this country, to put into office a person who represented the mainstream. I used to go crazy when television pundits would label him as from the left. That's right. So not true. He's strictly from the center. I can't think of a program that Sanders advocated and said he would try to put into place if elected that could be considered left. It's mainstream. It's what we all want. Jesus.